Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Today is February the 16th, 2023. And we're here again with Chris. And Chris, you there, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Before we get started, folks, I'm finally caught up. All of our past conference calls with Chris have now been converted to videos and are uploaded to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you have the right channel. You have the right site, at least for now. You'll find all of our conference calls there, and I expect to have this one up in probably just a couple of days. So
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. It's got Chris's cute little picture on it.
Yeah, I know. That's that picture there is probably not one of my better ones. But, yeah.
Anyway, so there you have it. If you guys have any questions, hit *6 on your phone, and it'll come up and we'll call on you.
All right.
Do you have anything that you want to discuss, Chris?
Well, this past week here has been, I talked to Michael last night. He was on one of our calls here, I believe, the week before last. He's having a party at his house, and his place there, Tad, is right along the Pisgah National Forest.
Oh.
He's got 10 acres that borders the Pisgah National Forest, and it's in a community in Greene County called Wolf Laurel, and it's one of those places where if you're in there at the nighttime and you break down in your car, you just sit there. You don't open the door, you lock the doors, and you sit there. You don't go anywhere till daylight. This is one of those wrong turn kind of places.
Okay.
They don't take kindly to strangers. And I told Michael, I said, I can't believe you moved out here from Michigan and probably moved into one of the most rednecky places, hillbilly places you could live in. And he was like, really? It's that bad? I said, yeah. There's snake churches down in there, and they handling poisonous snakes and drinking strychnine. And but I talked to him, and he said, if you're not doing anything Saturday, he said, I'm having a little get-together at the house. The 18th of last year is when he was released, so he's having a little, 1 year out annual party thing. And the 15th was the day that we were captured, kidnapped. The 11th was the day I got out 3 years ago. And I was telling my wife, I said, man, I've been out 3 years. Was locked up 3 years, then out 3 years. And the state still can't decide. They still can't decide. I actually called the Supreme Court 2 days ago and talked to one of the ladies. I said, man, you guys haven't even listened to a case since November the 9th. This is over 3 months ago. And you've only published one decision since then. That was over 2 months ago. And I was talking to this lady, and I actually told her, I said, look, our case is unusual. I don't know why it's taken, 10 months to decide. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, especially when these Supreme Court justices have interns and assistants to help write the actual argument or the actual decision. The justices get together. All they got to do is get together. Now, are we going to agree with this, or are we going to, overturn it? And if we overturn it, what kind of verbiage do we want to use? And then pass it on to someone, let them type it up. It's not that hard. I was a little upset when I was talking to this lady. I said, you got to realize that, I can understand why they're taking so long, because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with this. This is one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't. If they don't overturn it, it goes to the Supreme Court. When it goes to the Supreme Court, it's a constitutional issue. They're not going to be able to, up until it leaves the state, it's a trust issue. When it actually goes to the Supreme Court, it's a trust issue. But was the person's constitutional rights violated? And that's going to be the question. Do we really want the Supreme Court to know that we did these guys this way? No, we don't. We need to overturn it, but let's drag this out as long as we can. That's kind of the impression that I get. And so I'm telling this lady, I said, look, this is the position that the state of Tennessee is in. We were never charged. We've never seen warrants. I said the state of Tennessee cannot prove that they ever gave any one of us a warrant, showed any one of us a warrant that they allegedly claimed that they had. None of us signed for none of the five. One of the guys that actually took a cop to plea deal, he did get assigned for the indictment. The indictments came to the jail, and the mail person at the jail said, you got some legal mail out here, and we were like, no, we don't. So there was never an indictment signed for. So we never knew the nature and the cause through the warrant. We never knew it through the indictment. We weren't arraigned, And I was telling this lady, and she was like, well, I can't really give you any legal advice. I said, I'm not asking you for legal advice. There's no need for legal advice when nothing legal has actually happened. And that's the predicament that Tennessee is in. Well, I just talk on the phone, and I'm more like a secretary, and they hem-hawed around, and this lawyer, Emma Tennant, that argued. I was, venting to her about this whole thing, and she was taking major hits. Well, Chris, this is 6 months of this is my fault because I kept asking for extensions when I was filing this stuff. And that's what lawyers do, y'all. They will eat the big one for the court. Oh, we can't have the courts look bad. We're officers of the court. But they take the hit. They're the ones that take the largest hit. And, she was making excuses. And the deal with this whole thing is, I told this lady this, and she's like, well, we got a new server, right? We got a new server in January, and it's been really messed up. The website's been really messed up. This is the website I go to every day, sometimes twice a day, to see new decisions that are published and to read up on the past cases that have been decided. I've read a lot of cases. I've read a year's worth of cases out of that court because I want to see how the justices argue and how they decide. That way I'll have a feel for, maybe what's going on with our case. And they've done absolutely nothing. well, you know, we got a new server. And I said, so the taxpayers are paying for a server that they can't even use for the last 3 months. Really? Well, let me send you, I'm going to send you over to the IT people, and maybe they can help you with your issue. So she gives me this number, and I call, and I repeated the number back to her after she gave it to me, and I repeated it back, and she said, yes, that's it. So I call, and the line, and that number's been disconnected.
Huh.
So here's the funny thing about it, Tad. That website did absolutely nothing for 3 months that post one decision on the 9th of December. The day after I called, they got one day scheduled for arguments in February 22nd, I think it is. I said, man, that's kind of odd, don't you think? But then I click on it, and it doesn't open up to show me the arguments. So I don't even know if this is a legitimate thing they posted, or if they're just doing it for me. Now, y'all, I'm seriously considering making a video and posting it on my YouTube channel. This video here is going to be a brief explanation of what happened to us and what they've done up until now. It might be 20 minutes long. But I'm probably going to piss some of y'all off, but I don't care. At the last couple of minutes, I'm going to burn a Tennessee flag and an American flag. I'm going to burn them. Now, here's the story on the flags. Many people don't know. Tad knows, and a few others know. The flags that I'm going to burn are what's called capital flags. June the 17th, I think it was, of 2018, an American flag and a Tennessee flag flew over the Capitol building in Nashville. They were taken down that evening and boxed up with 2 certificates signed by the governor, presenting those flags to me. The reason I got those flags is because in 2016, I wrote more claims. I wrote almost twice as many claims for disabled veterans in the state of Tennessee than any other claims officer wrote. Even the ones that get paid by the VA to write them. Every county's got its own veteran service officer. They're paid by the VA to write claims. I did twice as many, and I did it voluntarily. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I got these flags for a service to the state of Tennessee above and beyond the call of duty and all this other stuff when you read the thing. And those flags flew between the trial and the sentencing phase. Trials are bifurcated. Those 2 flags flew between the time. So these flags are flying. Every day they put new flags up. Every evening they take them down. They never use the same flag twice. That means they've got 365 American flags, 365 Tennessee flags. They put brand new ones up every day. 365 out of 9 million, 10 million people living in Tennessee. Only me and 364 other people got those flags. This is why they are, while they had, at this time, they had me kidnapped for over a year and violating the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Amendments. And I'm really considering doing this because it'd be the first time I really got we the people involved. And if I figured if I did a video explaining all this and put it on the my YouTube channel, that I would do a in conclusion at the last couple minutes. In conclusion, this is what they've done to me. Go to my channel and watch the whole video. If you're pissed because of what I'm about to do, you may reconsider that if you go back and watch the whole video, and then torch these flags. Because I have a feeling if I did it and posted it on the channel, that video would blow up. They would probably take a clip of it they're going to do it while it's burning. That's when I would do the in conclusion while they're burning, so that if anybody tried to, one of the news outlets got a hold of it, they'd hear me saying why I'm burning these. We're a nation in distress.
Oh yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff that's made it, in distress. Then there's all these derailments and UFOs being shot down, and I'm not so sure a lot of that isn't false flag stuff. I just recently heard that they're going to give voting rights to the illegal aliens. That's one way, Joe, to try and win the election. Give them all voter registration cards. Give them all a bunch of money and voter registration cards. Personally, I think the government's trying to set us up like they have done so many times in the past with Iraq and Japan. And, the Lusitania is the reason why we got involved in World War II. All these wars we've been into were set up by our own government to get us involved.
Yep.
And I wouldn't doubt it if that's exactly what they're doing right now. I know a lot of people in me burning flags. That's, burning flags is a pretty freaking bad thing to do in front of patriotic Americans. I'm sure I've got, cousins that served in the military, and I had one uncle that served in World War II. He had 13 sons and 3 daughters. 2 daughters and 11 sons served in the military.
Nice.
Between him and his first run of offspring, he's got over 100. That family's got over 100 years of service. And I'm sure a lot of them's going to be pissed. But it's gotten to the point where I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting on the state to, trying to straighten this matter out. And I think it's time to get noticed. I think that's where I'm going. Tomorrow I'm going to call the governor's office. And I'm going to tell him, look, this is what has been going on. You better pay attention, because even though this is what would be considered a legal matter, it's about to be an executive matter. Because the state's going to pay. The state's going to end up having to pay. And they ought to know. I'm sure the governor doesn't know that this whole thing has been a violation of our rights. 9 of which were honorably 9 of the 10 of us were honorably discharged veterans. And as far as I know, the only one old person that had anything against them was probably Gary. He had previous charges for doing the same thing, y'all, in Colorado, or doing something similar to what it was that we were doing. He did it in Colorado. And at trial, when they were talking about, at the sentencing phase, about sentencing Gary, Gary's the one that's he's 74 years old now. He got 50 years. And they were talking about why his sentence was going to be so severe. and they said that a lot of times they take into consideration when they do sentencing. Like I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a traffic ticket, y'all, on my driving record, and got 20 years. And they said that Gary had some charges in Colorado, but when Tennessee tried to contact Colorado to find out what the charges were, Colorado wouldn't tell him. We're not at liberty to say. That's what they said in the sentencing phase. Well, we couldn't get anything from the state of Colorado on Austin Gary Cooper. Well, why not? Well, we contacted the state, and the state said that they weren't at liberty to say what it was he was charged with. How would you not know? How would you not be able to say that if someone's charged with something and convicted? Why they said that he was charged and he was convicted, but they couldn't even say what the crime was that he was charged with and convicted of. So Michael, I think, had a DUI back in the early 80s. That was it. 9 of us were veterans. We were, honorably discharged veterans. 4 of the 9 were combat veterans. So this is what I want to talk. I want to talk with the governor's office. I think I'm going to call tomorrow. And, I'm going to record it too. I'm going to record the conversation that I'm going to have with whoever I'm having it with. And, I'm just going to let them know at the end, I'm going to explain to them what's happened and see what they're going to say about it. And then I'm going to drop the flags on them. Look, y'all, you flew flags for me one of those days. In between violating my rights and sentencing me to 20 years, you give me capital flags. And I'm going to tell them that. You can look it up. I'm sure you got records of it. The governor that's in there now wasn't the governor who signed for him, but they still came from the governor's office. There's both of these certificates are signed with wet ink. So, yeah, they're not going to be able to deny it. And when they burn, they're going to, and you see flag burning often. But I guarantee you none of those flags, to the best of my knowledge anyway, none of those flags flew over a Capitol building. And I'm going to explain that. If I'm going to burn them, I'm going to explain it. Why I'm burning these. Yeah, it's going to go viral. If I put it on the YouTube channel, it's going to go viral. I'll probably do a short and put it on the TikTok. And it will. Surely a news agency or two will pick it up. That's what I got to do. You guys have, like the lawyer was saying, Chris, 6 months of it's my fault because I took so much time. She said she was telling me about all the time she put into the argument, and no doubt she did. She told me she listened to 28 hours of legislative argument over the redefining of the forgery statute in 1989 when they revised the statute. She said, I even talked to the lawyer that rewrote it. She said, I called him and talked with him for a few hours about the case, of which she read and watched the argument. And he said it. The guy that wrote the law told Emma Tennant that we didn't commit a forgery is what we did. So, why is it taking 10 months? I told Emma, I said, you can bite the bullet for the court system all you want, but you can't tell me that 3 of the last 10 months is because of you. You know, they can make a decision, you know, back in November about whether or not Netflix and Hulu's a video service. But you can't decide whether or not we've committed a forgery. That's where I'm at. I'm pissed. I really am. I'm pissed off. I want to get here, Tad. Really, what I want to do is I want them to make this decision before April the 3rd, because if Tennessee overturns this, the forgery charge, well, then we're only left with the Class E felony, filing a fraudulent lien in Davidson County with the intent to encumber real and personal property. That's the only charges we're left with. There will be a resentencing for a lot less time. I won't have 20 years. I won't be on parole till 2036. You know what I'm saying? 2035, whenever it is, I'm supposed to come off. That'll stop. I won't be on parole anymore because it'll be a 2-year sentence. Well, we've already done 6. But if they overturn it and they say, and the Tennessee Supreme Court says that they weren't forgeries, then if they're not forgeries, then they can't be fraudulent filings. So those other half of the charges have to be dealt with too. If I go back for a resentencing and the judge says, well, you know, I'm going to take the 20 years off you, Mr. Hauser, and reduce it to 2 years and give you time served, have a nice day. No, it doesn't work like that. If you guys frigged up and charged us with a bogus charge and convinced the jury for those charges to stick and give me 20 years, and now the Supreme Court's saying that it's not a forgery. If it's not a forgery, if you guys remember watching the beginning of that argument, when the guy gets up, the defense for Michael Usman, when he gets up, the very first question that the justices ask is a question from the Chief Justice. And he tells him, he says, so wait a minute, are you saying that this document is a genuine document? And the lawyer says it's a genuine document that contains lies. Okay? That's what he said. So if they say that it's not a forgery, then it's a genuine document. And then if it's a genuine document, how could we have filed a fraudulent document or a document that commits fraud? The other smaller, lesser charges have to go too. Now, the federal court has already said that it's not a forgery. They didn't come straight out and say it's not a forgery, but they discharged it as a debt. They scheduled it as a viable debt, and they discharged it as the same. So they're saying it's a provable debt. The federal courts in bankruptcy says it's a provable debt. If it's a provable debt, then it can't be fraudulent. Where that'll help, Tad, is when I go to argue in April in this tax court issue. They're not going to be able to say that it's a frivolous filing when the Tennessee Supreme Court is saying that it's a genuine document, and the federal court in Greenville is saying that it's a provable debt. It's like that's a double-edged sword. Just simply by them overturning it, I would like to see that happen. It's just more powder. It's just more gunpowder.
Right.
To do that. So that's what I'm hoping happens, or the reason that I need to push this. I need to push it. And and it may come down to putting the heat on the Supreme Court to do it.
How are you going to do that?
If I can call the governor's office and say, look, this is what's happened. Let me bring you up to speed on what's going on with this thing and where I'm at with this thing. And this is what I intend to do. And I'm going to give them, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. If you want to contain this mess that's about to get dumped in the state of Tennessee, then you may want to use whatever influence you have over the Supreme Court to get them to make this decision and get this work through. Well, I'm tired.
I get it.
Ron went up for parole the 26th of January, and for about 3 days it showed that it was under advisement. They hadn't made a decision on it yet. And then about 3 days after them finally putting it up like that, they have a new parole date, or a new parole hearing date in July. So he didn't get parole like me and Michael did. Now, Ron refused parole twice. Mr. Lyons, you got a parole hearing coming up. I'm not going to. If you don't go to the parole hearing, you're guaranteed not to parole. He did that twice, and then finally he said, you know what, I'm going to do like you guys did. So he was either refused, he either didn't go, or he probably went up there and started talking shit, because I know Ron. He probably got up there with his, Ron knew a lot about this stuff even before I did. He kind of introduced me to the guys that were doing all this stuff. And, since he's been working in the law library for the last, 4 years. He's helping inmates write their arguments. So, if I know Ron, he either didn't go, or he went in there and started talking a bunch of shit. And that probably didn't go over too well. And, Ron's not doing what I did. I got in there and I showed them other inmates how to write conditional acceptances, and they were serving them on everybody. There were 14 or 15 conditional acceptances served in the last year I was locked up. When they wanted me out of there, so I think that was probably the situation with him. He didn't do that. He went down there and played. He's the one. Ron's the kind of guy that tries to use his big brain to go in there and argue with him. It doesn't work like that. And I think that's probably what he did. He probably went in there fired up, give him a how-to and a what for,
All right, so Chris, would you like to take some questions?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. 240 area code, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, I just want to say thank you, Chris. I stumbled upon you, and I appreciate everything you're doing. I've had so many questions, and it just seems like I kept hitting a dead wall. My question is, my son just turned 18 in December, and I heard you say on one of your videos that he could go close his, I guess, his trust or whatever it is and cash out or something. What does that exactly entail?
Well, you could do the same thing that you could do at 65. But now, if he just recently turned 18, and
yes,
since
December
he turned
21st.
18, do you know if he's used his Social Security account for anything?
Nothing. I won't let him.
So he hasn't been to the doctor. He hasn't written out any.
Nope. Nothing since he's been 18.
No job applications or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay. From the day he turned 18, if he hasn't accessed the trust, he can go in to the Social Security office and say, look, this Social Security trust was set up by my parents. And it was set up without my authorization. And I am now of a legal age to contract.
Okay.
I haven't used my trust at all since I turned 18. And now I don't wish to continue in this contractual relationship.
Okay.
I want an on-ledger and an off-ledger account of the trust since its inception, and I want to check for the balance.
Now, how does that work? Does he still need a trustee?
No. When you go down to the Social Security office, okay?
Yeah.
There's a kiosk, and they're going to want you to put in the number to get a card, get a number, so they can call your number. Mm-hmm. Be the first one at the door.
Okay.
As soon as they open up, have him be the first one to go through the door, because they're going to say sign in at the kiosk, and he needs to say I can't do that. Okay. Because that would be accessing the trust, and I have trust business here. And you can tell the guard, I need to speak either with one of the social workers, but I would prefer speaking to the supervisor. I need a private visit or a private meeting with the supervisor, because that's ultimately where you want to go. The lady at the window is not going to know what you're talking about. You say Cestui Que Trust, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
When this is what they do for a living. You know, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I ain't never heard of a Cestui Que Trust. Oh, you've been dealing with Cestui Que Trust for 25 years, and you don't even know that that's what it is. Because they don't. So,
no, my
telling you can't do that, they're going to want you to sign it at the kiosk. But you being his mother, if they refuse to let him to talk to anybody, you access the trust for him. You put, and it wouldn't hurt if you had his cell phone out and was videoing you putting the number in to get the ticket. Let him have you do it for him. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you get this meeting with the supervisor, and if they say, well, she's busy right now or he's busy, we'll wait.
Okay.
And then when you get to visit with the supervisor, you're going to tell the supervisor, look, I don't wish to contract. And they're going to be like, well, we can just cancel the trust. We can just cancel the Social Security card. No. I want an on-ledger and an off-ledger account of the trust. Because, see, the trust, because minors can't contract until they're 18, the trust is really underwritten by you.
Right.
You know, what's the mother's maiden name? Well, it's Jones. So it's underwritten by you. You're the one that actually signed the Social Security application.
Right.
All he has to do is go in there and go, look, I'm an adult. I was a baby and I couldn't tell my mom not to, initiate this trust. This trust that didn't have full disclosure to begin with. And I need an audit of the trust. Because really it's matured.
Okay.
As long as you don't contract, as long as he doesn't use the Social Security number after 18, then it's actually matured. What they like for you to do is have him use it at 18. Say he goes out and does a job application, bam. You just use the trust. Now you contractually agree that this trust is under you now, and you'll have to wait till you're 65 for the trust to mature. But really, it'll mature because he wasn't old enough to contract in the first place. Go in there and tell him, look, I need an on-ledger and off-ledger. It also wouldn't hurt to authenticate the birth certificate. Get his long-form birth certificate and authenticate it.
Okay.
That way when you go in there, you'll have an authenticated copy of the birth certificate, or he will. He's going to need to do most of the talking, so you're going to have to get him prepared for this.
Right,
Not a lot of 18-year-olds want to do this. And it could take some time. So he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to access the trust while this fight's going on, and they're probably going to. I don't know if they would with someone who was, 18 years old, because there's not a lot of money in the trust. That usually goes by, how did he do as a minor? Did he get decent grades? What is his socioeconomic?
So he was homeschooled a lot.
Mm-hmm. If he did well in school, he's got good grades. He has the potential of going to college, and what's he worth more? Because look,
no. He's been homeschooled since 5th grade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a record of that somewhere. My kids have been my 15-year-old's been homeschooled since kindergarten or preschool, actually. And there's a record of it. We on the Lighthouse Christian Academy got a record of the grades all through the years, and but he's going to have to do a lot of the talking. He's going to have to fight it. They may not do. They may go, look. It'll be a hassle. It really would. It'd be a hassle to do an on ledger and an off ledger and get every piece of paper that's ever been involved with the trust. But they could do they could do like a short order audit where they say, okay, this is how much money went into the trust, this is how much money went out. That would be fairly easy to do. They'd probably do something like that within a couple of months.
But do they have to give it to him if he demands it?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
So that's how they do this. One of the ways they really get people in is the selective service thing. You're 18 years old. That's how they get the mail most of the time. You're 18 years old, your mama runs up to you from a thing from the post office. Mine did. soon as I turned 18, she's like, look, you need to do this right here. If you're going to stay in my house, you're going to do this. You're going to register for selective service. I didn't know much about anything. I was just a dumb teenager at the time. Or I would have said, I'll unpack my bags. I'm out of here. But that's where they'll get you. The Social Security number's on there. Sign it, turn it in. You just access the trust. If he ever gets hurt or anything like that, you're going to have to be the one to do the paperwork. Because you need to be the one. You're going to be the one that's at the hospital. He goes in because he's real bad sick. You got to fill this paper. You got to fill out this paperwork here. You be the one to do it. You be the one to put his Social Security number on anything that's emergency type. Because if he accesses the trust at all, your argument's done.
So he lives with me, and I won't let him. So, because I didn't know what to do, like what would be the most beneficial thing. So I'm kind of a rebel. I didn't really keep up with them keeping track of me with his grades and all that stuff. We unschooled, homeschooled. My son is smart, and I moved from a different state, so they didn't even come after me for it. So I don't know how that would work out. Because I didn't have them tracking me and tracing me on whether or not my child's getting educated. I'm a rebel, so I'm just not keen to all that crap. But the other thing I did it basically to. At first, when I started doing this, my daughter was, we're talking 10 years ago. When I first started doing this, I was I'm an education major with educational psychology degree, master's. So I had when I first started homeschooling my kids, I had the school board, the school system, the local school system. And all you have to do is, I went down there and I said, look, I'm homeschooling my kids, and I want y'all telling me what kind of curriculum I can use and all this, right? Oh, no, we don't do nothing like that. All we need from you is an attendance record. Well, come to find out, by going through this Lighthouse Academy, I didn't even have to deal with them anymore. Lighthouse would. Lighthouse was like, look, pay us $140 a year for both of your children. And, if the local school board gives you any crap, give us a call, and we'll have our lawyers on them. And so that's kind of why I did that. But then I was talking to my wife. I said, now look, they don't care. Colleges don't care about your primary school and your junior high, but they want records of your high school. So if our kids want to go to college, we need to go through something that's going to accredit the education. Well, the goal was for him to get his GED, but I didn't want him to do that yet also, because I'm sure they'll ask for his social. The goal was for him to get his GED into this. So I was like, well, we're not going to do any of that, because he started school, you had to be 5 on or before September 1st, so he was a year later. So that's why he would not actually graduate till into this year. So I said, well, we're just going to wait and see what this whole Social Security stuff is about. But I have one more question that I need to get off of here, because I know there's a lot of people waiting. But my daughter passed away due to cancer, and originally her son was living with me. However, one of the family members decided to steal him from me and went to court and got custody. Do I have any legal recourses, being that I never had custody in the first place? I didn't have time. My daughter was battling cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The family member who got him is not even like.
The family member, is it the father? Father's family?
Cousin. No, it's my daughter's cousin.
Oh, so it's a cousin on your daughter's side of the family, or your
right.
side of it. Okay. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of wild how they would, in the situation I'm in right now.
He went to court and told me I was not allowed to go, and I'm like, that don't even make sense. But I was so emotionally distraught when she passed away that I wasn't in my right mind. So I didn't even know what I thought he was doing something to help me, but really in the end he burned me.
So her cousin's a male.
Yes. And now he won't even let me see I have not seen my grandson in years, and they're saying, "Oh, you don't have grandparent rights." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You gotta have grandparent rights."
First off, you need to see if you got grandparent rights in your state. In Tennessee, we don't have it. You'd have to
in Maryland, they didn't have it.
Yeah. The situation I'm in right now. Here's kind of the thing. The way I see it, the baby's father didn't claim him, right?
Right.
The baby's father's probably not paid any child.
I don't know because the cousin went after him for child support.
Really?
Yes, and I'm sure the cousin
odd,
also.
Usually, in a situation like that, where if you've got the father's side of the family, it doesn't want to have anything to do with the child.
It's not that. He couldn't even make it to court because he had no transportation. So he screwed all of us out of him.
Yeah. Well, see, that would be. You would think that the child would go to the grandparent or a sibling of the mother. Like if you had an older son, I know you don't. Your son's 18, but that would go to like your daughter. Yeah, if your daughter had an older sibling, that they would be the first ones to get the child, or the first ones to have rights. Kind of weird that a cousin would get it like that.
But so the plan was
situation with my. Go ahead.
The plan was that if I couldn't take care of Jaden, that he'd be the one to step in because the father lives in Baltimore City, and Brandy did not want him living in that neighborhood, growing up in that atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So that was the plan. Yeah. But I just needed somebody to babysit him while he was suspended from school. Literally just lost my kid 3 months ago, and I'm just trying to get through life. And he come in and went to the courthouse and just got something called emergency temporary custody, and then turned around, went back, and filed for permanent custody. And told me I was not allowed to go, and told his father that his father said, "I don't have transportation, I can't make it." So he just up and won because of that. And I was like, I was too strong, not strong enough to fight at the time, because I just knew that he was going to do some shady crap like keep him from me.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have legal custody from the beginning, so I don't know if I had any leg to stand on. But if you're not familiar, it's fine. I just wanted to know if you had any insight.
Yeah, I think we got some other people waiting. That's kind of
I don't know. It sounds like it's a complicated situation.
Right.
You can all. I don't know if it helped getting your grandchild back, but you can always. They made you an offer. They offered to steal your heir. So you can conditionally accept them. That's what I would do. I don't know if it gets your child back, unless you put that in the, option B is to give me my grandchild. Get everybody involved, the cousin, the judge, everybody.
Right.
Well,
I thank you so much, and I'm sorry for taking up so much time. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Seth.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Right. I'm sorry.
720 area code. You're next.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. My name is Michelle, and I went to the post office today. I had my question is, I need some help on what to say. I need to do a conditional acceptance because they were retarding and obstructing the mail, and they held the mail. So when I went into the office, to the post office a week ago on the 6th, I had put in 2 envelopes packaged for prepaid mail, and I wasn't seeing them come up. So I decided to redo them, but I had gone in 3 days later and asked them where the packages were, or big envelopes. And they said they couldn't find them. They weren't in the system. And I said, well, what's going on? They said they're slow. There's not enough people. So I thought, okay, I'll wait another day or two or a few more days. But these are important papers and I need to get them out. So I redid them and went in the office and I said, I'm going to go talk to a clerk today with them, with the new ones I made, dated today, February 16th. When I went to the clerk and she started to look at it and stamped everything and bopped it and did the whole thing, and then she said that's going to be 21 something for the 2 envelopes. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm confused. It says prepaid here, and she looked at me and she went to the back. I didn't even have to ask her. She just went straight to the back and brought somebody, a supervisor. And so he came, and then he had the 2 envelopes from the 10th. They'd been held there for the whole 10 days when I was trying to figure out where they were. So he came with those 2 envelopes, and then he had the 2 envelopes that she just bopped. And then he said, he said, you need to pay for these, you need to legally pay for these, this and that. And I'm like, well, according to U.S. Code 18 U.S. Code 17.1, obstruction of mail, generally, and I started to read that, and I had it in front of me, and I was reading it to him. And then he's like, oh, well, you don't need to read that to me. You need to pay this legally and this and that. I'm like, well, can I speak with your, and then I showed him the I said, well, according to your mail codes, your rules, and I showed him the 742.1 and .0.1 and .2, and I handed him, I said, this here says that you're supposed to do this. It's a foreign office. Well, where's the foreign office? And so basically he went and sent him. I said, well, who's your postmaster, and can I get your name? Well, I need your name too. And I'm like, okay, there's, and I gave him my name, and we switched information, and I got the postmaster name. And I looked it up, and it is indeed the Chun Han guy. My question is, I need to get these and do this, the part 2. What are some ways or things I can say? And I'm going to attempt to go to another post office to get this done as well, because I can't conditionally accept them unless I pay for it in another office at that office. But and I'm not as familiar with who or where the postmaster general is, except for he is the one. Chun is in that district in Golden. He's the Jefferson County postmaster. So I just need some help on how to go about, or what would be the best ways and things I can say to kind of move this along to get things done, or besides just the condition.
The packages that they held for 10 days. Were they holding them because you're putting on the mail instead of stamps and stuff like that? You're putting the UCC, whatever the free post. Were you franking? Let me put it this way: Were you franking them? Were you franking the mail? If that's why they wanted you to pay the legally pay it.
What does franking mean? I don't know what that means.
The franking, if you look it up in the dictionary, franking is mailing. Let me see here.
Marked and qualified mail to be postally serviced? I don't even know what that means. I'd have to look up all these words. I just looked it up here.
Franking privilege. Franking privileges the ability to send mail by one signature rather than by postage date. Back to the 17th century England House of Commons, the American Continental Congress adopted the practice in 1776 and the First Continental Congress wrote it into law in 1789. It's franking privilege is what it's called. Some people are doing it with the UCC. They're writing some stuff on the envelopes. I did. I just wrote, when I was in prison, I just wrote frank where the stamp goes. And I was wondering, why were they holding your mail 10 days and saying that you had to legally pay for it?
That's all he said. He wouldn't tell me why, except for that I needed to pay it, that I couldn't pay it.
So you didn't pay for it? You didn't pay to have those parcels mailed, and have a receipt for that?
No, because my understanding was that if it's says the Part 2 prepaid mail, and you put the thing and you stamp it and you sign it, because I've mailed things with like a 3-cent or 2-cent stamp, and then put some codes on it, just like a regular envelope. But this was like an 8.5 by 11 envelope, and we've mailed smaller ones with and put in the codes, and they've gone through. But this one was like a bigger one, and it was certified mail, as well as return receipts. But my understanding is that when you do the Part Q or the prepaid with the codes in the Foreign Office of Foreign Office or Foreign Origin, according to 742.
Now you had a postmaster that didn't. You had a postmaster that didn't have a clue what it was that you were doing.
Well, he wasn't the postmaster. I asked him for the postmaster. I said, "Can I speak with him?" He's like, he kind of like half listened to me, and he was kind of barking at me. So I got really nervous because my energy was just so strong. And
that's when you say, "I need to speak with your supervisor."
Anytime and then he didn't say he ignored me.
Every supervisor's got a supervisor. What you could do, here's what you could do. This is what I would do. I've had problems at the post office before. I set my postmaster up. I was noticing, because I had a P.O. box, I was noticing that my letters are getting open. And so what I did is I sent a letter from my friend, and I live in a small community. I sent a letter from my friend's address to my post office box, and I put a blank piece of paper in it. And then I noticed that it was open. Now, I'm mailing this all what's inside of Del Rio, the zip code. And so I come out, and I opened it up, opened my post office box, and I looked at the letter, and it's open. And he came out the door when he seen me getting the letter out. He came out the door. He said, "Hey, Chris, let me ask you a question." I said, "Well, what's up?" He said, Why are you mailing letters to yourself?" I said, "Well, I do it to copyright." Right?
Yes, I don't notice that.
Poor man's copyright. I write a song. I put it in, I mail it to myself, and I don't open it unless there's ever going to be write the name on the song in the envelope. And he said, "But that was empty. Why'd you put an empty letter in your? Why'd you mail yourself an empty letter?"
Oh my God.
Yeah. So at that point, I knew that he'd actually opened it up. I had a tri-folded piece of paper in it, and I knew that at that point, I knew that he'd opened up the mail. So I didn't touch it, and took it outside and put it in a freezer baggie, and I called I called the Postmaster General in Knoxville. Usually the biggest city where all your mail goes to is where your Inspector General will be.
Inspector General, as opposed to Postmaster General.
You will have at your main post offices. You'll have an office of inspector or the Inspector General. And so I called him and I explained to him what was going on. And by the time I got off the phone with him, within 20 minutes, his postmaster was calling me. Hey, what's going on? We need to work this out. I said, no, we don't. I'm waiting on your boss to call me back. And he never did. So I sent an email. This is back when we were at dial-up. I sent an email to the Postmaster General in Washington, D.C., explaining what was going on. Next thing I know, I'm getting a call from the Inspector General in Knoxville. Hey, do you still have that letter? I said, yeah, I do. He said, would you mind if I take a look at it? And I said, yeah, you got my address. Come on up. Well, I'm going to be in Newport tomorrow. Is there any way you can come down to the courthouse? And I got to thinking, you can't come even to the post office in Del Rio when there's this issue going on. I never met him. I blew him off. And then he called me back. Hey, man, why weren't you at the courthouse? I said, well, I decided not to do that. I sent a letter to a forensic company in California. And they're going to lift the fingerprints. Because in order for this guy to not know there wasn't anything in there, he had to open it up. And I'm sure he's dumb enough to put his fingerprints all over it. I've never touched that piece of paper. I used rubber gloves when I folded the paper up and put it in there.
Huh.
So there'd only be one set of fingerprints on it. And then I got another call from the Washington, D.C., wanting to know what was up. And I said, I already sent that off. I said, when it comes back with his fingerprints on it, I'm going to have him arrested. 2 days later, that guy retired. The mail handlers in the area, one of them was my friend's sister. She hated the guy. He was a dick. So they were all happy.
Huh.
They said the Inspector General came down from Knoxville, chewed his ass out. The very next day, he handed in his resignation. You know, I don't know where you're from, ma'am.
Colorado. I'm in Colorado.
Colorado? What's the biggest city near you?
I'm sorry?
Where does your mail get post stamped from?
Usually through Golden. When I went in 3 days after the first time that we didn't go through on the 6th, so Thursday, a week ago.
Yeah, that's where I would start.
Well, I went there. That's where I've been. And when I went on Thursday, he told me, the people there told me, the clerk and then his supervisor, said he did a thorough look in the system and he couldn't find it. And he said, we're low on people. It should be in Denver, because Denver's the main mail distribution before it goes out to wherever it's going.
Yeah.
And one of them literally almost across the street.
Call the Inspector General's office at the post office in Denver.
Okay.
All right, so we have some other people that are waiting.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, shoot.
You're welcome.
Controls. 601 area code. Go ahead. area code. Your phone just unmuted.
Chris, how you doing tonight?
How's it going, brother?
Great. Thank you guys for accepting my call. Chris, I was looking at one of your videos about coupons to the corporation. I'm about to do one. My question is this. When I send it in, if they reject it, what would be my next step?
The conditional acceptance, but
Okay.
if they reject it, don't settle for just a letter saying we can't accept it.
Okay.
Because if they're not sending it back to you, they have accepted it.
Correct.
Also, when you write the remittance letter, remember that's a contract because you're gonna have it notarized and you're gonna have it sent certified mail return receipt.
Right.
The postal rule will be in the letter, the body of the letter.
Okay.
So just put the verbiage in there saying you contractually agree to accept this as payment.
Okay.
Then if they come back and say, well, we can't accept this, you say, what do you mean you can't? You already did.
Right. Okay, now I have some of that verbiage in the cover letter that I'm going to send to them along with the coupon. Is that okay, or should I wait and send that if they decide to reject it?
No, send it together. Send the coupon in with the cover letter or the remittance letter.
Okay.
Send that all in together. Now, if they tell you that they don't accept it, you can send them a conditional acceptance. You can W-4 the debt. That's another thing that you guys can do. You do the W-4 sandwich on the debt. Have them oh, you're not going to accept a lawful payment? Well, get ready. The IRS is fixing to come get up in your butt.
All righty.
And audit you.
Got you.
I'd probably do it both. I'd probably do them both. I'd send them a conditional acceptance, and I'd also do the W-4 process on them.
Okay. Now, as far as under my signature, is it okay to do the UCC 1-308 without recourse under my signature?
When you sign the back of that coupon, all you need to do is sign it with the beneficiary signature. It's not the UCC one. Y'all need to realize that the UCC is Universal Commercial Code.
Right.
If you're gonna write it on something, you're putting yourself in the UCC's jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
So I would advise anybody to take that UCC language and don't put it on anything, because when you use it, and if you're going to use it, I would definitely put without prejudice, UCC 1-304, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was going to use it, I'd put without prejudice to reserve those rights. But I think it's best not to use it at all.
So don't use it in the cover letter.
I mean, you're the beneficiary. You're the beneficiary, and you're going to declare that because you are. Right. Let them work inside of the commercial code if they want to. There's no need for you to. That's not what people really think. Well, if I do this, I'm covered on that. I wouldn't suggest using the. We used the UCC, and you see where it got us.
Okay.
I'll not use the UCC ever again.
Well, I'll just go back and rewrite this cover letter and take the 3-603 tender payment portion out of it.
Well, if you want to do that, if you want to leave it on there, if you want to leave it on, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying I don't. If you want to put it on there, I would suggest writing without prejudice over the UCC part.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I got you.
Because then you're reserving any rights that you would have under that code.
Correct, okay.
See, they already know that stuff.
Yeah, I'm
you're
trying
saying
to.
You're the beneficiary. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the ones making the payment for you anyway.
So, in other words,
they've been doing that all along.
Being the beneficiary is a little bit different from saying I'm the authorized representative, isn't it?
It's a lot different.
Okay. So let me scratch that, and I'll just put beneficiary.
That would be like a lawyer saying. That would be like a lawyer saying, "I am really the defendant," not "I'm pretending to be the defendant."
That wouldn't work too good, would it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, I'll just.
And I'm gonna do it long enough to get you sentenced to prison. Then I'm not you anymore.
Yeah, time to go then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for your information, for your help, man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, brother, anytime, man.
Okay, 559 area code. Let's see, it won't do that. 559, go ahead.
Hello?
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, my goodness gravy. Hi, this is Donna. I wanted to say hello. First and foremost, my intentions to speak with you guys tonight is not actually turning out the way I thought it would. But since I do have a moment, Mr. Chris.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I did email and whatnot last evening, so I have a lot of stuff going through my head right now, other than not being able to have some peace to make this call or wait on hold for you, sir. I have sent several letters to the law enforcement in my town. I am actually in Fresno, California right now, stating some, I don't want to say UCC codes, and you crack me up about look where the UCC got you, and I totally understand why you're saying that. But other than that, I am getting some feedback now, and it's very interesting. I did send certified mail as, you know, the postal rule and whatnot, or at least having some sort of contract with them. I noticed that they're not being very timely in sending those back, however they have received them. Or when I'm getting them back, you can't really make out a particular person, or I guess somebody you can hold accountable or whatnot, or if I'm going to get them back at all. And when I say law enforcement agencies, I'm talking the local sheriff, the police department, the DA, the public defender. Probably left a few out, but I've done a few things a little toward the state level, and I just wonder your thoughts on that right now, for lack of losing my real questions towards you.
If you're sending stuff certified mail.
Yes, sir.
And you're addressing it to the sheriff of the county or the prosecutor or whatever.
Yes.
There's on the signature line it says addressee or agent, addressee's agent.
Okay.
So when you send that to them, it doesn't matter if their name's scribbled on there and you can't even tell who it is.
Okay.
You get that green card back, there's one of two people that has signed that. Either the sheriff has or one of his secretaries that picks up the mail has. Either way.
Right.
The secretary is signing it as if they are the sheriff.
So that's notice to principal, notice to agent?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. Notice the principal is. Notice the agent. The agent would be the sheriff.
Okay.
And the principal would be the sheriff's office.
Very well.
The agent would be the prosecutor, and the principal would be the circuit court of blah blah county.
Okay.
Now they have agents sign for them, so when you get that green card back, it doesn't matter who signed it. It doesn't even matter if it's signed at all. If it's just stamped received, then the agent stamped it. So if you're sending them stuff and they're not responding to you in a timely manner, they have been contracted with. A lot of times they look at stuff like that and they go, "Oh, this is one of them sovereign citizen things. They're trying to get us to file for them or some crap, you know."
Absolutely.
And they throw it over in the corner.
Yes.
Little do they know they're screwing up when they do that.
I'm hoping to make them aware of that. The more this comes along, or blossoms into what I just feel was the right thing for me to do. I'll just say, and I do take glean from what you say, sir, and appreciate everything you're doing. Bless you, and I hope you are feeling better on the mend, sir.
And
great.
Thanks for asking.
Of course, sir. One of the people I did so much so send something back to did happen to be the county clerk of my county, revoking my voter status. I know there's different opinions on what you should do and what you should say, and what and how much you really want somebody following you around again, or driving by your house and that kind of crap. Been there, done that. But my county clerk had a very, very interesting response to that at first. So this was my second attempt to go ahead and get him to file some paperwork that I did go ahead and have done, and kind of tweaked it a little bit. And even when I got it back, I kind of threw out this and threw out that, because I'm just standing now. I am just standing, and my thing is, brave me up, Father. And if I feel I'm walking this out the way it's supposed to be, the way it resonates with my heart, nothing's going to come against this. Nothing's going to happen. And should it be that way, I'm going to record it. I'm going to jot it down. I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to let everybody know. I thank you for your time and your help, guys, and thank you for taking my call.
Well, I thank you for being unmovable.
Oh, thank you, because I was very squishy before. I'll just say that. This is it, though, and I wanted to say that I'm a living, breathing woman on the land, living amongst zombies.
All right. Yeah. The swordsmen are on the land. The child of the Most High.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Chris, I did have a burning desire that I hope you received in some shape or form. And your administrators to this, we have a right. You have a right. I have a right. I hope that made it to you while you're still in charge of all your emails or that type of thing. So that's all I'll say. And you probably can't see me curtsy, but I curtsy, and I hope you're well, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to move on to
good evening.
702 area code. 702, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
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 Yes. Okay. I'm a newbie at all of this, and just really a simple question. I've been down many roads with many different processes and whatnot, and I just want to get a concrete foundation as to where and how do I get started in the real right direction, if you know what I mean.
The thing I tell everybody is just getting off on this. What you want to do is you want to realize who you are. You're the beneficiary. You cannot make decisions for the trust. That's the job of the trustees. And once you know this, act like it. Once you know that you're a child of the Most High and that you're joint heir with the Messiah, you're a sovereign. You're a regal. You're the king. Act like a king and act like a beneficiary. When it comes to trust actions, be the beneficiary. The rest of the time, be the king.
Okay.
And it's, it might sound a little arrogant, but you should be. You'll attract more flies with vinegar than you will honey.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people say it the other way around, but it's not.
Right.
You'll get things done when you do that. Learn trust law. Because learn trust law before you learn any other law. You already know, people say this all the time, and I've heard judges say, well, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then you don't have any constitutional rights. I don't have constitutional rights. I have creator-given rights. Now those constitutional rights are creator-given rights. They're just a description. So knowing those are good, because the public servants that are going to abuse your rights, they are citizens. They are subjects.
Okay. I have a part.
It's good to know the Constitution. It's good to read your state constitution. And as I'm telling you right now, y'all, your state constitutions are more important than the United States Constitution. Because the state you live in is a country. I live in Tennessee. Tennessee is a country. It's no different than Germany or France or Holland. Those are all countries inside of a European Union. We've gotten away from that. We look at ourselves as Americans when we're not. I'm a Tennessean. That's the country I live in. Get familiar with the Constitution of your state. I think that you'll see once you read it that it's a lot more powerful than the United States Constitution is. I know Tennessee's is. I've read a bunch of state constitutions. Learn that. Learn trust law. And codes, rules, and regulations do not apply to you. People spend hundreds of hours learning about these codes. Well, the UCC and the statutes and they have no more power over you than the laws of the homeowner association.
Once I declare who I am.
And that's easy. And people tell me all the time, do I need to correct my status? If it makes you feel better, knock yourself out. But the scripture says, confess with your mouth. So all I need to do, I don't need to do anything to show the cop that pulls me over that I'm sovereign. All I got to do is confess with my mouth. I'm sovereign. I don't need a license. Driver's license is for someone working in commerce. And I can't tell y'all as many times as I've had game wardens roll up on me, check everybody on the bank. Let me see your fishing license. Everybody pulls them out. Let me see yours. I don't have one. Well, I'm going to have to write you a ticket. You do whatever you want. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to end well. Well, you don't think you need a license? No, I don't. I don't need your permission to feed my family. I will beat you in court every time. I'm fishing. I'm down here fishing to provide for my family. I'm out here deer hunting. I'm putting meat in the freezer. I've been bear hunting, and I don't know if you guys know a lot about bear hunting. They do a lot of it where I live. They killed a bear in my yard. I got it on video. I heard dogs. I was outside, and I heard dogs barking. I was out in my driveway, heard dogs barking, and there was a briar patch across the fence over on my neighbor's horse, where he teaches horses at. And these dogs were going off, and I'm thinking, where's the hounds at? And next thing I know, there's a big black bear jumped over the fence, ran, 10, 15 feet away from me through my yard. About that time, the bear hunter came up, and I said, he was going up above me, and I stopped him, and I said, he's right down there. Look, hear them dogs? They asked me for permission to come across my property, and I said, yeah, sure. And go on, man. You guys get the thing. It's what you do. And they shot this bear and drug it out. My daughters were pissed off at me that I let these bear hunters. I said, look, either I'm going to let them do it, or I'm going to take the gun from them, I'm going to shoot it. Well, I guess, And they got the bear. That's what they did. I've been bear hunting without a license, and game warden said, what makes you so special? I don't need your permission. This is the king's forest. Well, the king is allowed to hunt, and the game that's in this forest belongs to the king. I'm the king. Well, they wanted to lock me up. I said, you better call your the game warden that wanted to lock me up gave his own mother a fishing a ticket for fishing without a license. His name was Hollenbeck. I thought,
okay, that open.
That's what you need to do, my friend. You need to act like you are the king. And that opens
up the avenue for the second part of my question is the young lady that came up first talking about her 18-year-old and the Social Security Cestui Que Trust. I am in my 70s, and I want to, could you just give me a brief rundown on how do I go about auditing the trust or whatnot, because I heard you say before 18 or after 65.
Okay. I'm assuming since you're 70 years old, you probably are you getting your Social Security pension?
Yes.
Do you draw a monthly check?
Yes.
Okay. You went down there at 65 or 62 or whatever when you retired, right? And you signed up for the Social Security pension with the Medicare and all that?
Right. They have that online now.
Okay. But you can't, in your position, you can audit it, because what happens is when the trust matures and you go down there, I'm here to sign up for my benefits, you recontract with them. You had to sign up, right?
Right.
65. Oh, come right in here, sir. Happy birthday. Oh, man, a lot of times they're super nice to you. A lot of times they're real nice to you. They want to get you to sign that paper. As soon as you sign that paper, you've contractually agreed to allow them to continue to be your trustee until you're dead. So you don't have. Can it be corrected? You don't have. No. You recontracted. What you need to learn how to do is learn how to access that trust to take care of yourself. Let them access your trust to take care of your needs. More fit to what you feel. Make them be your trustee. Go down there and say, look, man, you guys aren't giving me enough money. I need more money. They'll probably adjust your pension and give you more money. Learn how to use the trustees to access the money for you. And this is going on with all different kind of things. I just got a text today, y'all. I'll read it to you right quick. It was from a guy who's doing a process, and he said, hey, I have a positive testimony. One of my treasury gifts resulted in a $4,903.97 discharge for a credit card. Okay, the process that he's doing, he's having the treasury discharge his debts. Paid off an almost $5,000 credit card. And they're also writing these instruments for more than what the debt is. So they're getting refunds. That's another way. If you can do this with a credit card, car notes and mortgages, they're coming. They're happening. There's probably 3 or 4 different processes going on right now. The W-4 and the creating these negotiable instruments and making your own checks. Making your own checks using your Social Security account, and then having the Treasury sending them to the Treasury, who is your trustee, in their fiduciary obligation, pay that off. That's the thing to be doing now. Another thing you can do is get the Treasury in a position where they owe you money, lots of it. Now you're able to use it to finance your bank, making loans to all your, I don't know if you're a farmer, you live in the country or whatever, but, I know some farmers in Iowa right now that are going to flip a wig when I go back home once the bank is up. I got families that are, cousins and distant cousins that have farmed their whole life and barely making ends meet. And I'm about to show them how to get out of farm debt. You got a $500,000 eight-wheel 8x8 tractor. A $500,000 combine. Yeah, they're going to love it when I get up there in my bank. That's what you could be doing. The best way to do that is to do the conditional acceptance and contract. But, folks, we're also working on the possibility of monetizing the birth certificate. You'll probably only be able to do it one time, but you may be able to do it for a lot of money, more than enough than what you would need to live comfortably the rest of your life. So, yeah, be 70 years old, living on a beach in the Philippines, man. Having some little
That
final
sounds-
honeys bringing you drinks and coconuts and shit.
I don't think my wife would like that.
Yeah, man.
So does that answer your question?
Yes, and I truly want to say that I
just stay with
appreciate
us.
you.
Stay with us, bro. Stay with us.
All right, thank you.
Well, I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, man. Well, maybe that'll change over the next year.
All right.
Maybe your big problem will be where am I going to next?
Exactly.
All right, so 330 area code. Go ahead.
Hello.
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 Hi. How you doing? We were wondering how to. We had our house repoed, taken away from us, and we were trying all that. My wife just went in to use the bathroom. She's the one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're fine, man.
We lost our house, and they came in and kicked us out and got rid of all our stuff. Is it too late to try to save it?
Was it a modular home?
No, it was a house on property on 6 acres.
So they basically just threw your stuff out and took your house.
Yeah. Well, we were behind, and she was doing all the stuff that like you guys talked about.
Yeah. Did you do have you done a W-4 on it yet?
Yeah, the IRS paper.
Yeah.
She turned that in.
W-4.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
How long
been
ago
6 months.
did you do that?
6 months ago, probably.
Have you gotten any word back?
No, they won't communicate with us. The attorney won't. Their attorney won't, and the bank won't. We even asked for friends.
Forget about it. Yeah, forget about attorneys. When you get word back, it's going to be from the IRS. You're going to get word back from the IRS. You're going to get word back from the mortgage company. What y'all need to realize is they're stealing your home.
Yeah.
You say, me and my wife, we were paying this off. Yeah, you were. A second time. Closing means it's done, y'all. At closing time, it is done. Yeah, look it up. Look up the legal definition of a closing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my blacks out real quick here.
We even asked for forensic audit, and they wouldn't give us a forensic audit on it. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a mess. I'm trying to understand this
I
stuff.
hear you, man. That's one of the biggest rip-offs. That's one of the biggest rip-offs, man. Is mortgages.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife's really into this stuff, and she understands it better than I do. I wish she would have stayed out here. She had to go. And
yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
close.
I don't know.
You go. Here's the closing, okay? To finish, terminate, complete. Wind up. As to close an account. A bargain. An estate. Okay, you hear that? An estate.
Yeah. Here's my wife.
Books, such as tax books. To shut up, so as to prevent entrance or access by any person. As in statutes requiring saloons to be closed. Closed as a noun, a portion of land as a field enclosed as by hedge, fence, or other visible enclosures. The interest of a person in any particular piece of ground, whether actually enclosed or not. In practice, the word means termination, Okay, so the word close in practice, the word means termination, wind up. Thus, the closing of a pleading is where the pleadings are finished. When issue has been joined. Close as an adjective in practice. Close or seal up. A term applied to writs and letters as distinguished from those that are open or patent. Okay? So think about that. Well, we got to go to the closing today. We got to go sign. It's over when you close. But what happens is people don't read the fine print. And I'm one to talk because I didn't either. Me and my wife and my mother-in-law, all three of us signed at closing for $98,000, almost $99,000 each. Each one of us paid $99,000 for a $100,000 piece of property. And then I figured it up not too long ago that, we're 16 years into our 30-year mortgage, and we paid $112, almost $113,000, and still have 14 years to go. And all along we were done. But people don't read people don't read it. They don't read the contract. They just want the property. We're getting this house. Just the fact that they've cheated you this way, it vitiates the contract. They're loaning you your own money.
Right, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm not talking out of my ass, y'all. This is a fact. I was watching a video here not too long ago where they were actually talking about this. A judge was talking about this. I wish I could tell you the exact video. But there was a judge and a lawyer talking about this. Talking about what it is that goes on with the financing. And it's not just houses, folks. It's cars. It's any kind of debt.
Even
you
credit
go
cards.
to the hospital. Yeah, I got a friend, man. He's got. I went with him. He broke his back. He fell off a house. 74 years old. Fell off of the house. Fell off the roof of the house. Broke his back. They fused his back together. He just now started back to work, and that's been a couple months ago. A little after Christmas, I think. And they were billing him right and left. And he's the same one I was telling you in the first video. His name's Everett. And I told him, I said, he's got 110 acres of land, and all this heavy equipment. And he called me, man. He's like, what am I going to do with these hospital bills? He's really worried about it, right? I said, hey, man, don't sweat it. We got this. And he had me go down. He said they want me to come down and negotiate this $230,000 hospital bill for, I don't know, I think he was in for 7 days. Surgery and all this, $230,000. And I went down there, and I said, did you guys admit him? Yeah, that's apparent. So I get them telling them I get these people saying what I want them to say. So it's not me saying it's them. Right. And I said, look, did you get them to sign? Did you get him to sign for this? Yeah. Did he give you his Social Security number? Yeah. I said, why are you trying to get money from him when you've already been paid?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You guys are trying to negotiate. He gave him a bill for $230,000 when he's already paid. You've already took the money. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, yes, you do. You got his Social Security number. And I said, look, see, he already knew how to sign beneficiary. Look, you accepted his signature on a bunch of these documents here as the beneficiary. He's not the authorized representative of the trust. He is the actual beneficiary. You took the money from his trust fund. You filled the forms out that's necessary, or at least you will by the end of the year. Next thing I know, they're going, excuse us a minute, left the room. Next thing I know, there's the chief financial officer for the hospital, Jefferson Memorial in Jefferson, or Johnson City Medical Center in Johnson City, Tennessee. He comes in and he said, "Can I speak with you?" I said, "Yeah, sit on down there." And we talked. I bet you I wasn't with this dude for 15 minutes. And I said, "Look, I know this is what's going on. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to commit fraud to get him to pay 30% of a bill that's already been paid." I said, "I tell you what, sue him for that money. And I will subpoena all your documents, all your filings on this man into the case. And by the time we're done with you, you won't be able to get a freaking Band-Aid on credit here." He said, "Hold on." He said, "Hold on a minute." He left and came back in 10 minutes later with the bill with a zero balance.
Wow.
He said, "Y'all have a nice day. If you need anything else, come on back."
Do they know?
Come on back.
They definitely know what they're doing.
They know that they're taking it. Why would they let us walk out on a $230,000 bill and tell him to come back if he needs any other attention?
Right.
So I'm telling you, man, you paid that house off and they stole it.
I know.
Now they're going to turn around. They're going to try and sell it to someone else.
Well, am I wrong in thinking that?
You've done the W-4, right?
I did the 1099-K.
Okay. But you haven't done the W-4 process, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, you might want to look into that. It's W-4 sandwich.
Okay.
One of my last videos was on the W-4 sandwich. And what that'll do is that'll cause the IRS to audit the mortgage company.
Yeah, I thought.
And the mortgage company's already been paid. Now, if they haven't already sold the property again,
they haven't yet.
By doing the W-4 and auditing the mortgage company, having the mortgage company audited, they'll probably give you your property back if it hasn't been sold yet.
The bank bought it.
The bank bought it. Then they'll audit the bank.
Yeah, the bank bought
it. Yeah. It's owned by the bank.
So do a W-4 on the bank?
Yeah, absolutely. You do.
Because I firmly believe
the bank is a financial institution that actually you actually paid it off when you got the loan. Here's what happens when you guys go get a loan and you put your signature on that loan. You ever notice when you go to a car lot and you finance a car that you'll do the paperwork and you'll sign everything, and it takes a couple of hours before they actually give you the car? They're waiting on the check.
Yeah. Right.
They're waiting on the check.
Yep.
Some of these car lots will be like, "Do you guys like the Golden Corral?" "Yeah, man, I love the Golden Corral." We're going to send you down there while we detail the car, and I'm doing the quotation mark. We're going to detail the car and gas it up for you, blah, blah, blah. We're going to clean it up real good, send you home with a full tank of gas, all that. Meanwhile, go down there and eat. What they're really doing is they're waiting for that check to clear. And that's how fast they clear. And it's the same thing with the house.
Yeah.
The only difference is you're not taking the house out of away from the bank.
Right.
Like you do a car. A car key, you're going to drive off with the car. You're not going to do that with the bank. That's why you'll sign it. You'll sign it, and by close of business that day, they usually have a check from your trust that's paid the house off. That's how you have
I know,
to do it.
several times.
Yeah, absolutely. If you and your husband bought the house, they hit your trust and they hit your husband's.
Well, I had the house before we got married, but...
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how they do
I
it.
know.
You know, when you and your spouse goes and buy a house, you pay for it twice because they're going to hit both your trusts for the same amount. That's what we're doing with these negotiable instruments. That's what's going down with these negotiable instruments. I know a lady out in California, and she created a different kind of negotiable instrument, paid off her mortgage, and then went on the website, her mortgage website, and printed off a letter that said that she had a zero balance. And within a month, they sent her a letter back saying that they'd accepted her negotiable instrument and used it to pay 1 month's rent, $2,100. But then she was back owing him the money, and her access to the website was banned. She called me up. She said, "Chris, what do I do?" I said, "Create another one of those instruments. This time, send it to the Treasury. Send it to the remittance office at the Treasury. Let the Treasury pay the mortgage. And even though it's already been paid, let them pay it. Then you go back to the mortgage company and say, look, I got proof here that this mortgage has been paid off by the Treasury. Are you going to deny that? Certainly you're not. So I sent you a check. I sent you this negotiable instrument a month, 2 months ago for this amount. You used part of it to make 1 month's payment, and then you stole the rest. Now you got 72 hours to pay me the full amount, or I'm going to report you to the SEC. You'll be reported to the SEC, and I'll have the IRS audit you.
That's another thing that I was thinking about doing is lodging a complaint with the FCC or the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. The
Security and Exchange Commission. For wire fraud and embezzlement, because they embezzled the money from your trust.
And I also they sent me the B copy of the 1099-A that they used when they bought the house and the sheriff's sale.
Yeah.
So that came out of my account, right? So can I use that as a receipt?
Well,
saying that this house was paid off?
It's proof that it was paid off. But like the lady was calling earlier tonight about where they told her that she had to make she had to legally pay for her mailing. She could have said, "Okay, I got a silver dollar right here." The post office will not accept silver and gold coins. So tell them. Like the banks will. The banks will sell silver and gold coins, but they won't accept them as payment.
So
you know what I'm saying?
From here on out, you suggest that I should do the W-4 sandwich, and then
that's the first thing I would do. Cause you guys are already out of your house, right?
Yeah, they my husband's been in. Yes, he's been in the hospital. He had to have emergency surgery, and the guy knew it. And so we had to cancel. It snowed really bad here a couple weeks ago on a Monday, or about a month ago now. And we canceled for him to come out. And then since then, my husband had 2 surgeries since then. And we just, our life has been turned upside down ever since that happened. And so they just came out and just started throwing shit away.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll run in one of those junk be gone dumpsters and drop it in the driveway and start throwing all your shit out.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. The guy that came and locked us out owns the company that cleaned the house out, and they were not nice.
Yeah, they never are. They never are. For a house you already own.
Right. And I personally feel that I'll still get the house back.
I would do the W-4 sandwich, and I would do the ASAP.
Okay.
Because what you don't want is the bank to sell it. It's probably going to take a little time for the bank to sell it anyway. You know,
it's a mess. They really destroyed it.
Yeah, they're going to want to go in and clean it up, and they don't want to keep it too long because they don't want to have to pay the taxes on it.
Right.
So, and they will if they keep it long enough. They'll have to keep it. I think over 90 days they'll have to. They'll be liable for the taxes on it. But if you can get it, if you can get to do the W-4 and get the IRS auditing them, they're going to. Here's probably what will happen. They'll probably want to get you back in it and settle the account.
Well, yeah. So,
because they want to do that before the auditors show up.
I don't know what happened here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna want you to. They're gonna want to settle the score before the auditors show up, which means they're probably going to want you. They want to give you back the house. Plus, they threw away a lot of your stuff.
They threw away everything, but that's because
if they want to settle the account, they're going to have to pay you. They're going to have to pay you. They're probably going to have to pay you to settle the account. They're going to have to pay you everything that you paid too.
Right.
They're not just going to give you back the house. They're going to give you the house with a clear title, and they're going to pay you the money that you paid them.
Right.
So that would be the thing to do.
So would I be able to email you to pick your brain for how to do the sandwich thing?
It's pretty easy. There's videos. There's videos online that break it down. I think her name is Felicia.
Okay. All right.
Felicia,
so we got another caller.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking my call.
But yeah, you can send me an email too.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Have a good night,
John.
Arizona John at your service. How you doing?
What's up, AZ?
Hey, I'm the one that sent you that special video, and I wanted to get this out for you. They banned it from YouTube, so I hunted for hours. I found it on Odyssey Videos. It's called Courtroom-Cross-Examination-Banks-Don't-Lend-Money. And I sent you a Blue Line link, and you're welcome to send it to everybody on Earth.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
for that woman that wanted it.
I would love watching judges expose that shit.
Oh, I all my life I wanted to see a video like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I was kind of concerned, Chris. Do you think this major activity could upset getting your own bank set up that you previously talked about? Well, good.
No, it's not. Even aliens landing on the freaking White House lawn.
Well, they're probably already there.
It's the money's gonna flow, man. The money's gonna flow. That'd be the last thing that gets interrupted in this country. There's a lot of. I think there's a lot of shenanigans going on. I don't think for 1 minute that these balloons are from China. Not 1 minute. The one that floated over us, I've seen pictures of it. And if you look at it, there's close-up pictures of it. You know what it is? It's it looks like those old ham radio towers.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
It looks like Yeah, it looks like the three poles that are all hooked together in three. With some old I don't even know if they're solar panels on them. But if you look at it, there's nothing there. It's it's a frame with some solar panels on it.
Could be a false flag deal just to get everybody excited.
Absolutely is. I told my wife, I said, does that look like a satellite to you underneath a balloon? Because, see, that's what they want you to think it is, it's a satellite. And my wife said, well, yeah, I guess. And I said, hey, Google, show me pictures of satellites. And I got about 30 satellites, and every one of them in the middle, there's this big box where all the instruments are at.
Right, but it shows.
Sometimes they got a petabolic dish on it, like a satellite.
It's right. That's correct. But what it shows to the ignorant masses is China Joe is protecting you. He got some points for saving you from whatever it was.
This is Joe. And look, guys, trains derail all the time.
Oh yeah, that's a horrible. Yeah, there was even dioxin in there, which they're saying is harmless. Hell, it'll kill you. It's a poison.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask. Well, in several of the western states, they have a 30, 60, 90, or even longer period of time before an eviction when, as the one lady said, the bank bought it. Now, if they did that immediately, I don't know her state, but there'd be a huge fraud there if they didn't give them the certain notice, and because you're supposed to allow a sufficient amount of time before the eviction. And that's pretty much all over America, but different states vary. So, and then you can contest the eviction notice. So I was trying to be helpful for her because I know what it feels like. I'm battling the same thing.
Well, I hope she's still in here listening because you're right.
Yeah, I hope so because she can look up.
The renter. You probably can.
Oh, hell, I had a renter one time. They stayed for a year and didn't pay rent. I couldn't get them out. Yeah. But in the state statutes on Google, if she looks up her state statutes for eviction and time frame to evict after the bank repurchases or somebody else buys the place at a foreclosure sheriff sale, it should tell her. Mm-hmm. And it could be a valuable tool. I don't know.
All right. So,
but anyway, I want to try to help with that information. Thank you.
Thanks,
God bless you guys.
Thanks, John.
You too, Chris, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. All right, I want to close it off because I've got some issues going on.
I hear you, man.
But but hang on, everybody. Thank you very much. Again, go to youhavetheright.com, join our mailing list, and join our membership. And check out these calls on YouTube. I should have this one up in a couple of days or so. And thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you again next week.
Good night, everybody.